Hey YouTube, it's Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. In today's video I'm not going to be doing any demonstrations. Pretty much I just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you guys. Now, the topic of this video is how to avoid scams and fraud on Craigslist. And it may seem strange coming from me, but in the past couple of months I almost found myself a victim of a couple of them. Now, I'm not here to knock Craigslist. I have managed to purchase a lot of cool stuff from my shop out of Craigslist, and the reason that I'm making this video on this channel is because a large number of my subscribers are interested in things like blacksmithing and welding, machining, and all different types of metal fabrication, which is what I do. And in a community like that, we're always on the hunt for tools. I mean, I have a funny feeling that until the day I die, I'm going to be buying tools. I don't care if I can't walk from one end of my garage to the other. I like tools, and that's not a bad thing. But a lot of us turn to Craigslist because it's very convenient. You find people who are local in your area, they're getting rid of something you need, it's a good price sometimes. You go, pay cash, maybe make a friend, and you bring home your tool. There's a scam on Craigslist that I recently became aware of just at the beginning of December. I purchased a lathe from New Jersey. I went down there, picked it up. Nice 1950s vintage Craftsman wood lathe. And it had a set of cast iron legs on a bench that I didn't need. I mounted the lathe to a different bench and I still have the legs sitting here. I did a little bit of research to see if I could figure out who manufactured the legs and then put them back on Craigslist. I found out that the lathe wasn't even worth as much as the legs themselves because they were really nicely made cast iron adjusting legs. So I put them out on Craigslist, and probably about a day later I got a text message saying, I'm very interested in the legs, I'd like to send you a cashier's check and have someone in the area pick them up. And I didn't think that was odd because it was an out-of-state area code, and it was actually back down in New Jersey where the area code originated from. So I gave them my contact information, and about a day and a half later, I got a message saying there's been a mistake. We accidentally sent the check out in an amount that was more than what you had requested. Would you be kind enough to return the balance? And I thought to myself, sure, you know, people make mistakes all the time. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Now, up until this point, I had never gotten this person's name, and that's something that should have thrown up a red flag right away. The guy didn't identify himself. So, after I agreed, he said in a text message back, thank you for setting my mind at ease. I look forward to working with you. Okay, great. The very next day I get a text message, has the check arrived yet? No. Day after that, has the check arrived yet? Not yet. So finally, 5 days later, an envelope arrives in the mail. I go outside, I said, oh, here it is. And I opened it right at the mailbox because I was curious to see the guy's mistake and how much money he'd actually sent me. There was not a cashier's check in the envelope. They were 2 international money orders from a company called MoneyGram. Each one of them was made out for $984. And this is something that I asked, the price that I had in the ad was $225. And I thought to myself, you know, one money order, I could see a mistake, but somebody sending 2 money orders for the same exact amount, that gives me a really bad feeling. So I sent a text message back and I said, look, I still don't have your name, and I'm getting a very bad vibe about this, and I'll tell you what I'm willing to do. You send me your mailing address, and I will be more than happy to put these 2 MoneyGrams back in the mail and send them back to you, and no harm done. I immediately started getting more text messages saying that you can't do that, you agreed to send us the difference, all you have to do is deposit them in your account, and when they clear, send me the difference, blah, blah, blah. And they went on and on trying to argue it. And I said, look, I'm not willing to do that. And then they started getting aggressive, saying that they were going to call the police. And at that point, I stopped my communication with them. And I sat down and I thought about it. I put this ad up on Craigslist on, I think it was November 22nd of this year. And as I was looking over the money orders, they had my name written in pen. And the person who supposedly purchased these money orders, the name was Deborah B. no last name. And I thought that was kind of odd considering the amount that was involved here. They wouldn't want to have a method to verify that it was their property or they sent the cashier's checks, or the money orders rather. And then I looked at the date that the money orders were issued. They were issued on November 4th. 18 days before I had even placed the ads. So right then and there I knew I was dealing with somebody who was trying to scam me. I took the number that the text message had come from and I plugged that into Google and just did a Google search on the area code and phone number, and wouldn't you know it, a couple of different bulletin boards popped up, and I clicked on one of them, and all the way up till December 1st of 2015, people were still getting scammed by this number. One guy, on December 1st of this year, lost $1,500 because he fell for the scam. So here's what the scam is. They contact you. They say, I'm interested in a product, I'm going to send you a cashier's check. You give them your address, which you don't need to do that if it's over Craigslist. Tell them it's COD. If you want my address, it's going to be for the purpose of coming to deliver cash and pick up the item. End of story. If it's a scam, that's going to stop the conversation right there, and you're not going to have to deal with it any further. When I looked up the phone number and found out that the guy had lost $1,500 in the same scam, and he was nice enough to go into details about how they conned him, saying that the couple claimed to be on their honeymoon and that they were out of the States, and could you please send the balance to the country that they were in, which happened to be in South Africa, which if that didn't throw up red flags for him, nothing would have. But what happens is when you deposit these MoneyGrams into your account, they will clear. The bank treats them as cash. So what happens is you see this money in your account and you're like, oh, okay, this is legit. And you send them another MoneyGram because you can't just randomly send them a personal check to another country. So when you send them the MoneyGram, that MoneyGram is legitimate based on the money that you have in your account. But up to 10 business days later, what can happen is that those two MoneyGrams will filter through and they will show as having insufficient funds, which means it dumps your account in the red and you lost all of that money. That's how the scam works. Now, with MoneyGram, if somebody were to send you a MoneyGram and say, okay, here's the reference number, then you could take the MoneyGram and the reference number and go to a MoneyGram location and get the cash. That's not a scam. But if they tell you to deposit money into your own account and you have to give a balance back, it's hands down a scam. And they ran the entire gambit with me, threatening to call the police, and you can't be intimidated by these people. You can't second guess yourself if you have a bad feeling. Try to outsmart them. I said, okay, look, I still don't even have your name. They sent me a text message back with a random name that I Googled, and the name that they sent me turned out to be a swimsuit model. So I'm like, I'm not playing these games anymore. And the more and more aggressive they got, I said, here's the deal. I said, you know the town I live in. You are more than welcome to contact my local police department with the contact information on their website. If a uniformed police officer comes to my door and says, you have these people's property and you need to do a refund or return, then and only then will I comply. At that point, they started threatening to send people to my house, to which I said, bring it on, dude. I've been in scouting for 20 years and I'm one hell of a shot. Funny how they haven't contacted me after that. But since that time, after reposting the ad on Craigslist, I've had 3 more text messages from the same area code with a different phone number. This scam is active. It's been going on for a long time. It involves other countries and people you are never going to meet in person. So my first word of advice is, please, please do not give out your home address. Don't give out your legal name, whatever you do. They will use that information against you somewhere down the road. If you receive a threat from a text message, go directly to your police department and report the threat. In your ad, if you should sell something on Craigslist, always put cash only, cash due on pickup. That's really the only way you can start to filter out these scams. And it's kind of sad because Craigslist is a really great resource for people like me. So I want to put this out there just to get you guys thinking. If you're going to sell stuff, if you're going to get rid of some tools and try to upgrade or get better stuff, Use Craigslist, use eBay, use whatever you can to put more money in your pocket and to get better tools. I'm not going to tell you not to. But just be careful and use your head. If something seems even the slightest bit suspicious, don't respond.